France votes in a tight presidential runoff between Macron and Le Pen, NewsRme. France's presidential runoff election started Sunday, with centrist incumbent Emmanuel Macron leading but facing a stiff struggle from far-right foe Marine Le Pen. Despite demonstrations, the epidemic, and the Ukraine conflict, Macron is seeking re-election for a second five-year term. If Macron wins, he will be the first French president to win a second term in 20 years. The outcome of the vote in France, a nuclear-armed country with one of the world's largest economies, may have implications for the Ukrainian crisis. Le Pen's popularity among French voters has risen to a record high throughout this campaign, and much will rely on turnout on Sunday. For example, her desire to outlaw the Muslim hijab in public, or her links to Russia, have many likely to vote for Macron. Both contenders are courting the 7.7 million votes of socialist candidate Jean-Luc Melenchon. This runoff election provides an uncomfortable option between a nationalist in Le Pen and a president who some believe has drifted to the right during his first term. The result may rely on whether left-wing voters endorse Macron or abstain, allowing him to face Le Pen alone. All recent surveys show the 44-year-old pro-European moderate winning, although the margin over his 53-year-old nationalist opponent fluctuates widely, from 6 to 15 percentage points. Polls predict a record number of individuals will either vote blank or not vote at all. In a 2-hour 45-minute debate earlier this week, Macron ripped at his far-right opponent, seeking the votes he needed to win. Le Pen has attempted to appeal to working-class supporters hurt by rising costs as a result of Russia's conflict in Ukraine, a strategy that Macron admits has gained traction. She promised to lower living costs if elected France's first female president, positioning herself as the candidate of the poor. She claims Macron's leadership has polarized the nation. She has often referred to the months of violent protests against his economic policies that some felt harmed the poorest, which preceded the COVID-19 outbreak. The French presidential campaign has been particularly difficult on immigrants and religious minorities. The greatest Muslim community in Western Europe voted for far-left candidates in the first round, thus their vote may be significant. Macron has also emphasized his environmental and climate achievements to appeal to young people. Massive support from citizens, particularly millennials. Many young voters are concerned about climate change. In his first 5-year tenure, Macron caved to furious Yellow Vest demonstrators by cancelling a tax rise on gasoline costs. To achieve carbon neutrality by 2050, Macron said his future prime minister will be responsible for environmental planning. Le Pen, a former climate change denier, wants to end renewable energy subsidies, abolish wind farms, invest in nuclear, hydro, etc.